Partnership is just my version of a revenue share model. So revenue share in my business looks like clients pay me a very low base rate. So it's $12.50 a month, which like if you think about like one-on-one coaching prices is dirt cheap. I actually have never raised my base rate. So even when I started coaching, my price was $12.50. And then when I added revenue share on top of it, I just didn't change it. And I've never raised my base rate. It doesn't mean I won't. Like I'm sure at some point I probably will over time. But like in all the years I've been coaching, I've never raised that. And I think that that matters to say because all I mean to say in that is I've never had to because I make great money off revenue share. I make great money helping my clients make money, which I think is really cool. So base rate is 12.50. And then it's 10% of new revenue generated through our work together. So the way that we do that is like starts on the day we start working together and it stops when we stop. So it's not like 10% forever or 10% for the next X amount of time. Like a client can like stop whenever they want, which I think is really important in this model because I never want someone to feel like, oh, I'm paying you a percentage and I don't want to be. Like, I don't own any part of their business or anything. It's just like while we're working together, like this is what's happening. My business has grown so much since I've implemented a revenue share model. Yes, I think it's the ultimate business model for people who love one-on-one work. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to hear that. Hey, Allison, it's good to see you. I'm biased, but I think it's really fucking great. I love that that's helped grow your business. That's so cool. Um, so I have about 22 clients at 22 clients at any given time, I would say. We do 3 sessions a month, so I'm not doing 20 sessions a week on average. I do about 15 sessions a week. And then they pay me based on our results. So it's skin in the game for me and skin in the game for them. Like they still have to pay a base rate. It's not like whatever. Um, just come pay me revenue share. Like there is a base rate. I have tried it and like tested versions of just doing a higher revenue share. The reason I have decided a base rate is because you need some measure of predictability, especially because I have team and stuff. Um, and like obviously sometimes stuff does take time. Like, in our first month together, like who knows that I'm still delivering the service. So but equally like they're paying a lower revenue share percentage because of it too. So it kind of works out the best in my opinion. Um and what else do I want to say about the structure? Yeah, we do 3 sessions a month, 45 minutes each. They have like unlimited connection with me in Basecamp, and I like truly, really show up and like am a partner in their business. Manali said, "Oh, I always thought I'd eventually be capped revenue wise if I wanted to stay working with a small roster of 7 clients, but I think this could definitely be a way to expand beyond that." Totally. Same. I mean, I really was like, okay, fine. I'm just going to cap out at being like a one-on-one coach at 250K a year revenue. Good enough for me. If I get to do what I love, great. And then I had the idea for this, and now like, I've made 7 figures a year in one-on-one. So there, there does not have to be this like, oh, I can't go past that point. But equally, I do think for so many people in our industry, thinking that they have to pick the business model that has like unlimited scalability really, really, really is like harmful too. Because there are so many great businesses that you could have that you are making 250K or 500K a year, and you're like very happy with that. So, like, I think there's a little bit of both. Like, I love that this has really scaled with me. And I also love that I was like, you know what? If I make 250K a year doing work I love, like, isn't that the goal too? So it's a little bit of both. Um, and yeah, I just think like we all have to like pick what feels good to us, but like having work that you like doing every day really does matter. Another reason that I feel like the partnership model is such a good model is because not only do I only need whatever 22 clients a year, let's say on the high end, um, I retain so many of those clients because they feel that partnership. They see our growth together over time. They know if they have a high month, we're winning together. And if they have a low month, like they're not on the hook for something they can't make happen, right? And so clients tend to retain for years. And so at this point in my business model, I need like a couple clients a year, you know? And in a space where like everything is like louder and noisier, having the ability to say, like, I only need a few clients saying yes a year is really, really cool. Like, I'm not saying that's right for everybody. Like, some of my clients love like marketing and getting like a ton of new clients per year. Like that is not inherently wrong. But I will say for me, being like, I could take 3 months off content and it wouldn't matter. I usually don't because I'm very consistent. But like having that flexibility is really helpful. Now, do I give on the flexibility in terms of the fact that I'm like doing 15 calls a week? Sure. But I personally really enjoy those calls. Like if you were like, hey, do you want to be like making content or on one-on-one calls? I would choose one-on-one calls. That's not because it's better or worse. Like it's just a personal preference, right? And so these are the things to think about. Hey, um, like what would you pick? I ask clients this all the time. I'm like if you could be creating, like I literally had this conversation with a client recently, and I was like, if you could just be like serving more clients or creating more content, what would you pick? And she was like, content, hands down. I was like, okay, let's build for that. Like what? How can we like be doing more with your content? Like what does that look like? There is nothing wrong with that, but we should be thinking about how we want to spend our days because the trade-offs feel less trade offy, you know? When I know like I would much rather spend 15 hours of my week on calls than 15 hours of my week in content creation mode, it just gets easier. Like it's not, it's just clarifying, right? Yeah, same with calls. Yes, yes, Tania too, calls. Um, right. So then oh no. I just lost it. Sorry guys, hold on. Okay, there we go. Then this model becomes like attractive. Hey, Esther. It's good to see you because it lets you put your time towards calls and that being like where you're making the revenue and where you're pouring in. So I love it for that reason because it's like I get to do what I'm best at and then I don't have all this pressure to do all this other stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, I really do. Like I show up here, I do a live, I do a podcast. I put out a like really decent amount of content for being a one-on-one coach, but like all of that is because I feel like it's a best practice to like keep my wait list growing. But like truly, truly, if I stopped doing that for a period of time, like probably even a long period of time, it really would be okay. Would I eventually have to do some kind of marketing? Of course, hands down. But the safety of that is like very positive benefit of this model, right? Hey, Lacey, I have clients who've been partnering with me for several years, and it feels so good to be able to be part of their journey and witness their growth. Exactly. Same. Like, I'm really a long-term relationship girly. Again, some people aren't. Like, I have some clients who are like, I'd rather work with people for like a month and then they move on to something else. Like, that's where I'm really skilled. Amazing. There is nothing wrong with either. Like, it is not better to be a long-term relationship girly. It is know thyself. If you're a long-term relationship girly, a partner share model could work really well for you. If you prefer short-term containers, of course this wouldn't work that well because it's really built over time. Like the money in the partnership model is a compounding thing. Like it tends to be much more long-term than like a really short-term play, you know? So I feel like the fact that you don't have constant turnover or need like certain amounts all the time is very helpful because then you can spend your day in a different way. I think another really huge benefit of it is that this model tends to be attractive in an industry boom or a time where the industry is slowing down. So in a boom, people are like, oh my gosh, like there is so much opportunity for growth here. If you help me grow, what do I care about paying you 10%? If it's in like a downside of the industry, a lot of people are like, okay, well, I really like the fact that like I'm only on the hook for this very low base rate instead of like this huge price because I know that if we can get it to grow together, like I'll be happy to pay you. And if we can't, I'm not in that risky of a position. So it's one of those models that really fits like different flavors of time. And there's always going to be different seasons in the industry, right? And I have found that this model really fits both of those quite well because it's sort of protective either way. Like if we're in a huge growth period, you're like, well, what do I care giving you 10% if I'm like, like my client um that went from like 0 to 1 million in like whatever it was, like 18 months or something. She's like, I don't give a fuck giving you 10%. Like I just made 1 million, went from like 0 to $1 million that quickly. Like, sure. But like again, opposite, like someone might be like, hey, this feels protective because if whatever, I make less 2 months from now because I have a down month, like I don't have to feel that worried about that. Um, Lindsay said, do you think this model is best with people who coach business owners? I mean, I think it's like makes the most sense in terms of like the result is tied to revenue. But certainly I have had like people ask me about like, could you just do pay per result or could you like tier results or something like that? You definitely could. I haven't personally done that. But like whatever, let's say I'm just making something up, but like let's say it's quantifiable in the sense of like, let's say, you're helping them gain muscle mass or something like that. It's like if you gain X% of muscle mass, like here are like the bonus opportunities or something. But I mean, like obviously a revenue share does make sense in the fact that like business owners, when they're hiring coaches, like the direct outcome is revenue. So I do think it's like kind of more fitting there in a sense, but I definitely think that there are like other experimental things you could do for sure. Um, what are the you for sure need these in your contract to protect everyone when doing revenue share models? So things we have in our contract, one is we do have the right to like audit people's books or P&L or whatever. I've said this a bunch, but like I very much have that in my contract. Like I want clients to know like if we're partnering, like this is an option. And equally, I've never exercised that option. If I really felt like I had to do that with somebody, I just would end the coaching relationship. Like if I was like, I really think this person's like straight lying to me about their revenue all the time, like that wouldn't be our only problem, if you know what I mean. Like it would be like, actually they just need to not be a client because like I think they're engaging in shitty business practices and like aren't in integrity. So I do think it's helpful to have it in there so that it's clear that like this is the level of like partnership and sharing we're doing. But equally to me, if I ever felt like I needed to exercise that, like we would actually have this whole other problem anyway. So I think that part really matters. I mean, and obviously all the other pieces of like you know, making sure that like it's clear that like you are not guaranteeing any specific result and things like that that are like very standard in contracts. But I mean, really, it's just making sure that it's clear how you're laying out revenue percentage in whatever way you do, and that like you have the ability to audit that in some way that provides like safety and protection for you. Yeah, fitness and nutrition, you've thought about doing it. Yeah. So I think you'd have to do it probably based on some kind of like bonus at results or whatever. But like I think it would depend on like what your result is that you're pushing for, you know? Um, oh, cool. Claire, she said I just started revenue share this year after considering it for a couple years. I love it already so much. That's awesome. So cool. Congrats. I really like I think if you love one-on-one, it really, really can be incredibly supportive. I think that like it just tends to feel so good on both ends. Like a lot of my clients are like, it feels so fun to like pay you because I feel like we built this together. And for me, it feels so fun to be like, I make money because my clients make money. Like it really does feel so helpful on both sides of it. And so I think that, and also there have been plenty of people who have said like, that doesn't feel good to me, or like, hey, I just like not totally vibing with it. Can you make me understand? And like, usually what I'll say is like, if that just inherently doesn't feel kind of cool to you, you might not like this model. So just know like, not everyone will be the right fit client for this. I really wouldn't like personally try to overly convince someone because like it does have to feel pretty good. But like for most people, I think they find it like to feel quite good. Um, one thing about you that needs to be said is that you're so fair in how you implement. If you weren't, I could see how clients could feel differently, but the nuance here matters. Thank you, Christina. Yes, totally. I think you have to be willing to be like, yeah, like fair in how you think about this. Like what makes sense? What doesn't? Like, I've had clients that have had two businesses, but we're like working on one business. And it's like, okay, well, like I'm not entitled to revenue share for your other business. Like we're working on this business. Like there's lots of like nuance you have to be willing to navigate. Um, but like if you do that, you get long-term partnership. Like that's the thing, right? Like of course, all long-term relationships require nuance and transparency and fairness. And like I think if we think about it, like if we bring it down to the baseline of like, how would I treat someone that I wanted to be in long-term relationship with? Like it all does get kind of obvious. Um, do you think this model could still be appropriate for those of us that work with earlier mid-stage business owners? Totally. I have a mix. Like not all of my clients come to me brand new. Many of them do come to me, um, you know, later. Oh, you're saying earlier to mid. Well, let me talk about that in a second. I just want to make sure I don't miss Manali's question. Okay. Um, so I actually typically do a mix of further along and newer people, and one because I just like really enjoy being in both, and I think there's like novelty in that I find really appealing. But two, because both will get you a different outcome, if that makes sense. Meaning people that are already making great money, like there's some guarantee, I guess, of revenue there, but it's also typically a longer window, meaning like if someone comes to me and they're like, hey, I want to work with you because I'm at 500K and I'm like totally capped. That sounds appealing because you're like, oh, you'll make 10% off of 500K like that. And it's like, kind of. But if a lot of that's already contracted income and they're capped, I might not make money for 5 months by the time we like reorganize their business and make it so that they have a different offer and so that they can actually let in more clients. And so, that's not necessarily a slam dunk from a revenue share perspective. Someone newer, sure, like you could be like, oh, there's not like proof of concept yet or whatever. Um, but sometimes they make money very quickly. And then all of that is part of revenue share. Like Julia and I, Julia Wells and I have done like behind the scenes podcasts on this, and she shared very openly about it. Like she was basically making nothing when we started working together. And so now she's made $6 million. She's paid me like 600K of that. Like, but it's because we started from like square one. Do you know what I mean? So I just say that to say like there's different versions and different value in that, but none of them are wrong. It just both provide kind of like different versions of it, if that makes sense. Um, Hi, Alyssa. Okay, Manali said, can you remind me, is it 10% of new revenue or revenue in general? New revenue. So the way I do it is like, let me think of the best way to explain this. So if you came to me and you were like, I already have 10 clients and they're in 6-month contracts, I would touch none of that, even if they were in month one. Like you contracted that money before we started working together. None of that's mine, even if you're receiving some of that cash while we're working together. Um, but if you sign someone like the day after we started working together, that technically counts, right? Because like we have to just pick a start date and start. Like, so there'd be 10% of that. Equally, though, if you sign someone, in the last month that we were working together and you were going to have them as clients for the next 12 months, I would only be entitled to revenue share on that 1 month because we were actively working together. It's not like now I'm entitled to it for the next 12 months. So we do it like that. So there's like a finite period where we're not getting into the weeds of like, oh, okay, but you signed them here and so it counts to here and da, 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 da. It's just like cash received on new revenue in the time frame that we are working together. That is the way I have found that makes it like the cleanest. um I know some people do like okay, you're starting at this number and then it's only 10% if you make over that. The reason I've never done that way is for a few things. Like one, sometimes helping someone maintain their revenue and like work a lot less is actually like a huge, huge, huge goal. And so it's like if the goal is coming to me to be like, hey, I want to maintain this revenue and work less, then it's almost like revenue share wouldn't count in that scenario. And I want to be able to help those business owners too. And equally, we're still working on all of that. You know what I mean? Like business changes over time. Like in order to maintain your revenue, even like you still have to like change and adapt and do a lot of things. And so I've never done it that way, though I know some people do. Um, I've just made it really clean within like the window of work together. Um, Melissa said, have you seen this model work for done for you services? I'm a fractional COO and business strategist, and I'm currently trading time for money, which I know isn't sustainable long term. Yeah, I've definitely seen COOs do it for sure. I think that is like becoming a more and more like normal practice Yes, that would be so hard to track beyond that. Exactly. Like, and I really only want someone paying me while we're working together. I mean, technically the last month we work together, they pay revenue share the next month, but like, I don't like the idea that like someone would be paying me revenue share like 11 months after we stopped working together or something like that. Just doesn't feel right. Like, I never want someone to feel that on the hook to me. Like, I think a lot of the reason a lot of clients stay with me and I have repeat clients is because they don't feel like they have to. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, well, you're stuck and you owe me revenue on this client for 11 months anyway. Like, I want it to feel like you're here because it feels good to be here. Like, you're paying revenue share because you're getting partnership in a way that makes that feel good. And like, that's sort of the end of it, you know? Um, Okay, the other thing I want to say about revenue share model is it really like something I just like love about it is how clear it makes client outcomes and client results. Um, a thing I hear from people sometimes is like, well, my clients don't always share exact numbers with me. Oh, well, sometimes it's really hard to like get exacts from clients. Blah, blah, blah. I have so much client data on that. Like, I can go back and tell you what a client made every month. I can tell you like what their high months are, what their low months are. And that's really helpful to me, both in terms of the fact that, like, obviously it's like easier for us to document progress and results, but also because it helps me be a better coach, like where I can go look back at somebody's thing and be like, hey, you always have a low June or whatever. Like, let's not worry about that. You always have a low June and you crush in July, August, and September. Like, let's focus on July, August, and September. Like, it really gives me so much data about my clients' businesses and like what their trends are and like where their growth is and what their results are. And I think that is just so valuable in business. Like, if you are having trouble capturing client results, it is going to be harder if like you want to market results. Do you know what I mean? And so this has made it much easier for me to be able to like truly document, talk about, and see client results, right? Um, Christina said, I think if it felt tit for tat, it wouldn't feel good, right? But if it feels more like an investment and like we're building an asset together, it works. It's less an expense. I think that's the key. Exactly. Like, thank you for saying that. Like, that's how I want it to feel is like, I'm not like, oh, when did that client start with you? And it's like, whatever, like we're building something together. And equally same, like none of my clients are like freaking out about like, oh, I mean, obviously sometimes people have questions about like, does this count or does that count, which is like very relevant. And I'm always so happy to have that. But like, it's not like a, let's get so in the weeds and so like this for that. Like, I just trust what they're reporting and they trust that like, we have a bigger goal than that. And I think that's really important. She just said, totally agree, love the data. I send my clients visual overviews of their results, and I'd like to think it helps with contract renewals. I'm sure it helps with contract renewals. I love that you do that. That's so cool. Um, I think another thing that people have said about revenue share is why don't you do profit? And I've like thought about this extensively, like doing profit share instead of revenue share. And the reason I don't do profit share is because I really want to stay in my lane. Meaning I don't want them to feel like they have to run like an investment decision or a spending decision by me because like that's going to impact my like payment or something, right? Nor is it my business of like what they choose to run through the business and what they don't. Like, a lot of my clients run a lot of expenses through their business. Like, and I'm like, that's not for me to tell them how that should go or not go. I mean, like, obviously, like a lot of my clients have like investment questions for me and they like, you get what I'm saying. Like, it's not like I'm not happy to help on that front. But I think that if it was profit share, it would be like, not only could we audit your P&L, but like every single expense and blah, blah, blah. And like, again, it's not like I'm not looking at my client expenses, but like not having a vested interest in like what that looks like, I actually feel like makes me a better coach, if that makes sense. Because it's not like, okay, well, does this count because someone's running their, I'm going to tease Christina for a second. Someone's running all of their Disney trips through the business. I'm not saying she does that. I'm just teasing her. But like that would start to get more weird. And everything I try to do with partnership is like, how do we keep it clean? That's my goal. How do we keep it clean? We start on this date, we end on this date. It's, it's this revenue, it's that. Like, I want it to feel clean, right? And if it doesn't feel clean, I think it is when it gets weird. It's like what Christina was saying earlier. It's like when it gets a little tit for tat kind of thing. So I'm not saying nobody could do that or whatever, but it's just like never been my choice. I've always been like, it's clean, it's clear. And I've always chose 10% because I think that is representative of like even what a great partnership coach can influence. Like you guys are still doing 90% of the work. Like, right? I am invested, I am there, I'm a partner, but you are still responsible for 90% of the results. So you should get 90% of that outcome. I'm like, I know I can really say, like, I'm probably influencing 10% changes, and honestly, probably much more in theory, but like I'm willing to say for sure it's 10%, you know? Um, and that has felt like clean to me too. Like I can always back that. Like if someone's like, yeah, but why 10? Because I feel like a great coaching can influence at least 10% of the results, but you still have to like fully show up. Like I've had a lot of people over the years be like, what if can I skip the wait list if I give you 30%? And I'm always like, absolutely not. Like you should never, ever, ever give me 30%, you know? Lacey said this is not related, but I'm curious when your next podcast season starts. Okay, hold on, I'll tell you. I will tell you. It starts on the 15th. So like very soon. Oh, 15th of April. Sorry. Starts April 15th. I was like, wait, that's like next week. That can't be right. We start April 15th, which I am very, very excited about. And we'll have our new podcast coachee on like I think April 13th or whatever that is right before that. So you guys can meet. I thought it was next week. Sorry, I know. I was like, wait, I need to look at what day I'm actually am on my calendar. Um, the other thing that I think is really valuable about a partnership model is that it, listen, let me say this differently. I think when we work in capitalism to a certain extent, we are all like commoditizing humans, right? I was like literally having this conversation with one of my clients recently, and I was like, I mean, I feel like, capitalism, right? However, I feel like it makes humans feel like a human instead of like a number. And I think a lot of what has felt bad to me in our industry over the years is how much we just treat people like a number or a sale generated or whatever. And so I think this model for me is like the version where I'm like showing like you are a human that matters to me because your results matter to me. Even if you're high ticket and high touch, I think you can still kind of treat someone just like a number. And so for me, this is like I really feel like it's such a clear stance on like humans are not just a number to me, which I think really, really, really matters. The personal piece of this, which I want to talk about for 1 second, and then we'll kind of get into benefits and trade-offs. The personal piece for me and why I love partnership model is because it has stretched so many of my personal edges. I talk about this all the time and it's very openly, but like I can be a real control freak. And I have had to do so much work on like surrendering in the partnership model. And I cannot tell you how much that has changed me and impacted me so positively as a person. Like, I just can't even guess sometimes. Like, obviously, we have a lot of historical data, but like, clients change, business models change, industry changes. Like, I don't know always like what that's going to be. Like, I can't tell you what our April revenue is going to be because I don't know what my clients are making in March. And obviously, I have safety built in the sense of like there's a base rate and like I know there's like a standard, kind of like baseline we typically don't go under. But to be able to be like, I just trust myself this much. I trust my clients this much. I trust my ability to help people get results this much has been such an important exercise for me. And I feel like it has made me such a firm, grounded business owner in a way that I like wouldn't have been before because I would have tried to control every aspect. Partnership almost made it so I can't. And I'm never going to control a client. Like that I'm so like firm on. Like that is easy for me. Like I'm never going to be like, well, I think you should launch in June just because like I want them to make a lot of money in June or something like that. That part is like so easy for me to stay away from. Like I'm so clear in like client dynamics, like what's mine, what's theirs. And so it's just a race to this ability for me to like overly control everything. And it has been so helpful. Like I cannot even begin to explain the positive ripple effect that that has had on me as like a human to just be like in trust of my abilities, and trust of the people around me, and trust that I picked the right person, and that like I have people that like I work with that are integrity. Like I really feel like a lot of my um like wounds or whatever you want to say, trauma, insert word, are around like being able to like really like depend on someone and trust someone. And like this has really made it that like I really trust my clients. I trust their reporting. I trust that they're doing the best they can. I trust that they're doing what's right for them. I trust that they're showing up with integrity. Like it's just like I cannot tell you enough how much this has like positively impacted me as a human. And I really believe that's like a lot of the work we're here to do in business. Like what helps me grow, what helps me evolve, like where does this business challenge me to become like a better, stronger, more grounded version of myself. And like hands down, this model has helped me do that in like almost every imaginable way. Um, and it's just like made me trust myself deeper too. Like if I can run a model like this for 8 years where I technically never know what my income is going to be the next month, like I can handle a lot. Like I'm a bad bitch, you know? Like that's how it makes me feel. And it's just like really cool. Christina said, I thought there was no way I'd participate in a revenue share, and here I am 18 months later, very happy, and honestly not for the reasons I would have thought. I've made a lot of money and have had a lot of growth, which is what I wanted in the beginning, but it's not the reason I stay a client and happily pay. Just sharing from a client perspective in case that's helpful for any coaches running a revenue share. I do not run one, nor would it be right for me in my business. Exactly. Oh, thank you, Christina. I love you. Um, but that's it. Like a lot of my clients are like, I know how to make money now. Like, I get the mechanisms, like I know how to grow, but like having you there is just really valuable. Like I'm not staying because I have to, I'm staying because I want to. I don't like have to owe you money, so I'm here. It's like feels good to be in partnership. And for me, that's so true with my clients too. It just feels really good to be in long-term partnerships. So if some of the trade-offs are like, I'm on calls and I don't know what my income is next month, give me those trade-offs. Like that is like, I get so much more out of it. I get to like know these people like so well. I get to feel so like helpful. I get to feel meaningful. I get to feel impactful. I get to feel depth in relationship. Right. Yeah. Christina said that I'm staying because I want to, not because I have to. That is how I hope like every single client feels. Like Julia like teases me about that all the time too. I feel like I can, her and I were just talking about our behind the scenes podcast that we used to do. And like, she'll say that all the time too. She's like, I get the mechanism. Like, I'm not staying because I have to. I'm staying because it just feels better to have partnership, to have support, to have a balance, to have someone that's there that wants me to win, that knows me, that knows my shit, that knows my patterns, that remembers what, we priced 3 launches ago, whatever. Like, it can just be something that feels like, oh, this is what it feels like to truly have support. And it feels so good to be like, oh, this is what it feels like to have clients that aren't here because they feel like you have some magic secret, but that are here because it feels good for them to be here, you know? Um, and all I said, I think the thing I get hung up on is how do I communicate that I still care about you as a human first and foremost, more than the revenue you bring in under the model. Like if the best move for your brain is to take a step back, even if it means a loss of revenue, that will always be more important to me than pushing you for the sake of money. Totally. I mean, I honestly just think that's being in it and showing them that. Like I mean, I would say that, but I don't like even typically market to that. But my clients know that. Like they know like when the rubber meets the road, if they're like, man, I'm really burnt out. I'm always like, take fucking care of yourself. And if you don't take care of yourself, like I'm gonna hammer you until you do. Like I almost think that they just learn that through experience. And through like how you market and how you show up in your values. Like I think it's pretty obvious from my marketing that I'm never going to be somebody that's like, go make more. But I almost don't feel like I have to say that super directly. I feel like they experience that through our work. I mean, certainly I'll have some clients that'll be like, oh my gosh, I feel bad. Like I wish I whatever, like wasn't needing this space or whatever. And I'm like, I don't even get like that is the last thing I think about, especially because it's such a long-term play. Like I would much rather my clients not burn out and stay in business for the next 6 years than make a lot of money for the next 3 months and pay me and then like end up, leaving their business or something because of it, right? Like that, it doesn't serve either of us. Um, I guess that's so part of my normal messaging too, and why they hire me. Exactly. Like I think it's just so woven into like who you are and how you show up that you're not going to attract clients that are worried about that, I don't think. And then like the second they're in relationship with you, it'll be very obvious that it's not a thing. Um, I think that to just talk about this like very honestly, I think some of the downfalls of a revenue share model is like if you're, I don't want to say, like if you're doing it and you're not willing to go, hey, we're playing the long game, whatever. If you're not willing to go, yeah, I don't actually know what our revenue is going to be next month, like it will be very hard. If you come into this model thinking that you'll always know and it will always feel safe and it's like the safest model. Like I think sometimes I find it funny because people will be like, "Oh yeah, you have a wait list, but like you have such a big wait list. Like it must feel so like safe and stress-free in your business." And I'm like, "Well, it kind of does feel really safe in my business, but I assure you it's not just because I have a wait list. It's because I've had to do so much fucking work on this. But like I don't even know what I'm making next month. Like, wait, um and I just say that like in a funny kind of way because like it's so easy, I think, to always feel like, oh, this next business model will be the thing that makes it all feel easier, that makes it all so predictable or whatever. And it's like what I have learned throughout the years in entrepreneurship is like, I'm the one who's predictable. Like, I'm the one who's my best bet. It's not because I can see 3 months out. It's not because X, it's because I really trust myself to navigate business. I really trust myself to show up. I trust that, like, if we have a tough month, I'll navigate it. Like, it's that like it's so cheesy, but it is that self-trust piece. And like if you get into a revenue share model, you have to triple down on the self-trust piece. If you get into it trying not to do that work, you will make yourself and your clients insane. um what I have really had to learn over time is the less I care about my clients' results, the more they get them. And I know that sounds bad, and I'm not saying we shouldn't care about client results, but the more I'm like, I care about how they feel in their business. I care about if they're doing work that lights them on fire. I care about if they're feeling supported in our calls. I care about if we have a good relationship. I care about if they're happy. I care about if they like what they're doing each day. Like when I worry about that shit, the results are like easy. When I'm like, how do I make sure she has a really good lunch because then she would make a lot of money and I would make a lot of money? Like there's nothing worse on earth. I feel horrible. They feel horrible. There's all this pressure. Like the irony of this model is you almost have to like set it and forget it. Like, cool, we have revenue share, and now I don't give a fuck what you make. I care if you're happy. I care if you have a good business. I care if you're making smart decisions. I care if you're being strategic. I care if you have profit. Like that, right? Like you kind of have to be willing to be like, I care about all the things that lead to that, but like the pressure gauge is all the way down. And like that's when it really goes. So like if you get into this, like that has to be the version of it. Like sometimes I will be able to know off the top of my head, like, oh yeah, like someone had XYZ great month last month. And sometimes I'm like, I don't even remember what people made last month. Like you kind of have to be able to like look at the data, but hold it loosely, Um, which I think is just like a requirement of this model. And you also have to be really clear that like everyone will have different seasons. I feel like some people are like, oh, you know, it works out for you because like you get to hand pick people. And it's like, trust me, I have hand picked a bunch of people that all of a sudden their life fucking blew up the moment we started working together, or something happened, or like, like life's for everybody. And you just have to be willing to be like, I don't need someone with like a perfect life or a perfect set of circumstances or um whatever. Like I just need a human where we vibe and like I trust them and they trust me. And like if we can have that, like we can pretty much make the revenue happen. If not, the revenue doesn't even matter at that point. So if you're going to get into this model, like you really have to be able to like create certainty for yourself while being willing to hold quite a high amount of uncertainty. Um, my income definitely fluctuates month to month. Like if you think about certain things like let's just give an example. A lot of people launch in the fall. right? September, October, I feel like a lot of launches happen. Like I could be just like, flush with cash those months. And then a lot of my clients, especially when they have like more established businesses, are off in December, right? Or, like totally checked out, like so fairly. So I just say that to say, like, you cannot be like, I'm choosing this model because I think it will give me like the most predictable month to month. Da, da, da. Like, I know roughly that I'll make what I want to make in the year if I keep like doing what I'm doing, but like it it is not perfectly consistent. It's just not like it wouldn't make sense for it to be based on like what we're talking about. The other piece I would say is, oh, it just left me. I was like, oh, I really need to remember to say that. Oh, here's another thing about this model that is a trade-off. You could have a client that's paying you like whatever, $12,000 a month in revenue share on average. And then they decide like they're good or they're taking time off or they're leaving or they're, like stepping back from coaching or whatever. So there could be big fluctuations with this too. And then when you get another person, of course, they're not going to be paying you that much off the bat. So there really is like this fluctuating piece that I think that, you really have to have like a strong stomach and a strong, belief and self-trust to be able to deal with. And that might be right for some people. Like for me personally, that was right for me. Like I need to be able to be like, cool, someone can leave. And like, I wish them the best. Like, I hold that very loosely. I'm never like, oh my God, this client's making so much. I have to keep them. I'm like, I literally want you to do what's best for you always. Um, and I know that it is gonna, like, there is a window to that. There's a timeline to that. There's a replacement time that comes with that for revenue share, but I'm playing the long game in my business, so it's fine. But if you're someone who that's not your work, where it's not about, you know, like releasing control or whatever, this model might actually be very activating for you. I really, think there are plenty of trade-offs. It is certainly not for everybody. Um, and the other piece is I think this could be a really good thing or really bad thing, let's say. Like you have to decide at a certain point with partnership that you're doing enough. Like one thing about me is like I typically don't do a lot of like checking in. Like I really believe that like a CEO skill that people need is to be able to like ask for what they need and to show up and say, "Hey, I'm challenged by this. Hey, I have a question. Hey, I want you to look at this sales page." I am very rarely being like, "Hey, do you need anything this week? Like, how's it going?" Because I just don't feel like that's creating the best like version of a CEO that I'm like trying to help my clients like step into and continue to like cultivate for themselves. I'm not saying like if somebody was like sick or having a really hard time, I would never be like, "Hey, you good? What's up?" But like in general, I'm not big on being like, hi, do you need anything? Hi. And I think you could easily fall into that with a partnership model where you feel like, how much can I give? And how much should I keep checking in? And what else do they need? And what else can I give them? And what else did, like, you could go down an endless rabbit hole with this. And so you really have to kind of like figure out what your lane is and stay in it because there kind of is this piece where it could be never ending. Do you know what I mean? Where it could be like, now I like must keep doing more. It can be a little bit, how like with a membership model, sometimes it's like about retention. And so you're just like, what else can I do to get them to stay? And what else? Blah, 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 blah. And you could like end up being like a one-on-one coach for every one of your members at a certain point if you're not careful. Like the same thing is true here. Like you could end up being almost like the CEO of all of your clients' businesses and the one that has to like check in with them every day and if you don't find a line for yourself. And so again, like this model requires you to like have self-trust, have confidence, hold yourself, handle uncertainty, hold your own space, hold your own boundaries, be your own container. Like there are a lot of pieces to that. Um, Adrian said, I have been revenue. Oh, wait, I have been revenue share. Oh, you've been doing revenue share for 4 years. Okay. And the more I let go of control, the more results um, and money we get, and the more confident I get, the more magnet it all is a blessing. I have saved so much time in my marketing just serving clients and having long-term clients. I love that, Adrian. Um, and Christina said that's where you pick your clients. Well, 100%, right? Like I think I'm very open with that. I think I'm very clear with that. I think I really, no, it's okay. I totally knew. I just had to, my brain had to process what you were saying. I think I'm very clear with that. I think I'm very like, I want my clients to be self-responsible, but I don't expect them to do it all on their own. Like I hate all of that narrative about like being self-led and like basically never using calls. That's not where I stand at all. But I am like, you have to tell me what you need. Like you have to, partnership looks like you tell me what's going on and I show up for that. Like that's what it looks like. And so certainly being able to like select clients that vibe with that, I think is really valuable. And I'm also really honest. Like I talk a lot about how I don't believe in accountability in the way that most people do and stuff like that. And so I really do try to be like values forward and like attract the clients that are like, yeah, I don't want anybody checking on me. Like if I was fucking messaging Christina every day and being like, hi, do you need anything? Are you okay? She would literally be like, leave me alone. I don't like, what do you want? Like I'm good. Like I can handle myself as a business owner. And most of my clients would feel like that, right? That's not a desire they have because like it's not the problem they have. Like the problem they have isn't that they need someone checking in on them every day. Now, I do have some clients where I'm like, hey, you're not leaning in at all. Part of our work is we need to figure out how to get you to do that, right? But like I think you get what I mean. Like it really is about like who you pick and like how they resonate. And so that's the other value of a partnership model is you really get to pick who do you want to partner with? Like who are the right people for you to be doing this with long term? Christina said the flip side is you're really responsive. And so for the busy CEO, it's perfect. But again, it's about your clients. Exactly. Right. Like if they need something, I'm fucking there. Right. But like they definitely don't need me babysitting them. Like my clients are not excited to have a babysitter. That would drive them insane. But they are excited to have somebody that's like, I'm here. Let's go. What's up? Yes, I got you. Here's my thought. Right? Like, and so you just have to like solve the right problem for the person that you actually want to help. And then obviously the value of the partnership is like I get to pick who that is, you know? Um, and I also think that's the value of like the marketing because I don't need high volume. I market in a very values driven way. If I needed high volume, a lot of the marketing I do wouldn't, well, I mean, obviously it doesn't work. I have like 16,000 followers. Like that, like I'm not marketing for volume, right? I'm marketing to be like, you also wouldn't want a babysitter. You also feel this way. You also just need someone that's responsive in there and that has a thought and that has a strategy. Like you get what I mean, right? Like, so that it helps me do that because I'm not like trying to get 500 clients this year. I can market in a more values forward way that self selects clients out. Where if you're going for volume, that's just not the game you're playing in the same way. I mean, of course, you're still being niche and clear, and you get what I mean. But like all of this nuance of like, and you don't want someone checking in on you, and just can sometimes get lost when you have bigger containers or bigger like goals, I guess, in a way, in terms of like number of people served and things like that. But you get what I mean? Like I market for the people I want, for a very specific person, for a very specific way that I show up. And then I make money based on like the clients getting results. Like that's why that model works so well together because I can be very, very, very selective, right? With like this exact person and this exact problem. And then those people are like well positioned to be long-term partnership clients to actually enjoy our work, right? So, are there a lot of trade-offs? Sure. Do I experience them as trade-offs anymore? Not really. Like I don't, it's like when I'm talking about it, I can go, oh yeah, like income fluctuates and da, 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 and I'm like able to say that, like I know that's true, but do I routinely think about that anymore? Absolutely not. Um, but again, that the case is just know thyself. Pick the thing that fits you best, lean all the way into it. It's like what we talked about last week, and you will see results from it. This model is the model that I've used to see incredible results. And I truly think that there's like nothing better for me. And I think there are plenty of other models for someone else that are better. So that is my spiel. If you have partnership questions after this, I can always do another one and answer more questions or just message me. Like I could talk about this all day. I believe in it so much. I think that it is like such an underused setup in our industry and can be very valuable if it's the right person and the right thing. So thank you guys for listening to me talk about it. I feel like this is just like fun for me to talk about. So I appreciate y'all being here and I will talk to you next week. Bye guys.